All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division, where we've got an update on Errol, Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford. This time coming from Errol Spence Jr.'s trainer, Derrick James, 2022 Trainer of the Year. And a guy coming off of a win. Good congratulations with him, with Anthony Joshua, with his win over Robert Helenius last week, was interviewed and talked about what's going to take place with the Errol Spence Terence Crawford fight next, the rematch. So let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division, where Errol Spence Jr.'s trainer, Derrick James, speaks out about the Terence Crawford fight and also what's going to happen next for Errol Spence Jr., and what he thinks is going to happen in the rematch when it takes place. And notice I said when it takes place. Now, before I get into that, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you are a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you so much for your continued support. It really means a lot, especially to the people that sponsor videos in the super thanks. You guys are the main reason that I'm able, along with the people that watch the videos, that we're able to continue to do these videos and continue to talk about the sport of boxing from a fan's standpoint, because that's what this is. I'm a boxing fan. This is my opinion. If you want to get all in your feelings about it, hey, man, I would say you need to maybe go chill out. But it is what it is, and I'm going to tell you what Derrick James have to say, and then I'm going to give you my opinion. And I would hope that you listen closely enough to understand the difference between what he says and what my opinion is. Because those could be two, no matter of fact, they are two different things. Even if we agree, they're still two different things. What he says and my opinion of it. So part one, Derrick James and what he said. He was asked about the Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford rematch and if he thinks it's going to take place. And he says basically, or he implies, this is what I got from it, that it's going to happen. And he says that Errol Spence Jr. is going to win the rematch. And again reiterates that he believed that Errol Spence Jr. was not himself in that ring. And as a result, you're going to see a different outcome when the second fight takes place. This is something that has been reiterated by a lot of people. There's also was information coming out of Texas, not from Errol Spence Jr. directly, but from other people, that there were major problems in his camp on the lead into it. And only they know whether that is true or not. Now, people talk about excuses, and I'm going to tell you what you can do with your word excuse. You can ball it up and you know where you go. You know where it goes, because it is what it is. If there were things in his camp, and only they would know that prevented him from training properly or affected him as he was walking in the ring, you can see a lopsided fight and a fight go very, very badly for him. Whether or not you think that it is, you don't want to hear it. And actually, you know what? I really need to stop talking to the people that act like they don't want to hear it, because really and truly, you're in the vast minority of people. The majority of people actually want to understand what happened in the fight. But that aside, Derrick James says, without saying what happened, it seems to me that he knows something was going on, though, because he says, hey, well, that was that time. And, sometimes you have bad nights, and it is what it is. You got a bad night. It is what it is. You got a rematch. You get back up. You fight again. And it's a different day. It's a different scenario. And he says in this fight, the next fight, Errol Spence Jr. is going to win because he believes Errol Spence Jr. is the better fighter. Now, what is my opinion on the matter? My opinion is that first and foremost, that's what Derrick James' mentality is supposed to be. Obviously, he is the trainer of Errol Spence Jr. He has been a trainer of Errol Spence Jr. all the way from in the amateurs all the way into the professionals, to winning his first title, his second title, and his third title. And he believes that his fighter, if everything is right with him and well with him, that he will be able to beat Terence Crawford. And that first fight was not was not what it should have been or would have been if Errol was all the way together. That's what his take is. He is the man's trainer. That's what he's supposed to say. If he says anything different than that, then you know something is wrong. Not that there are trainers that would not do that and would not say that. Because if you recall, Kell Brook, who was fighting Terence Crawford, Dominic Ingle, who is Terence Crawford's, who is Kell Brook's trainer for the Errol Spence Jr. fight, and throughout his career, from what I understand, did not train Kell Brook for the fight with Terence Crawford because he said, I don't believe you should be taking it. I don't think you're in a condition to fight him. So it is not as if a trainer won't walk away from a fight that they think is a mismatch, right? But as far as saying Terence Crawford's the better fighter and he's going to win the fight, hey man, that is what he's supposed to say. Now, just because it's what he's supposed to say doesn't mean that's not what he means. And he's not being truthful about it, right? Now, we got to be careful here when we say this because, a lot of people will tell you, well, using a different example, what were the pay-per-view numbers on Gervonta Davis's fight with Hector Garcia? Well, the reports are it was between 200,000 and 250,000. And they said, no. Where do those numbers come from? Oh, well, they come from, let's just say they came from, I'm not saying they did. Let's just say they came from Leonard Ellerby, who's an employee of the WB, who is a part of the PBC. Well, that's what he's supposed to say. Because, why wouldn't he say that? He works for them. He works with them. He's going to make themselves look good. Of course, they're supposed to say that. Well, look, yeah, he is. First of all, he doesn't have to say things to make himself look good. He can just keep his mouth shut and not say anything. That's one option that disproves that he's supposed to say it. But if he does say something good, just because he says something good doesn't mean that he's lying. He will say if something is good, he may say it's good because it is good. So you can't say that just because he said it, that means you can't trust it. Just because what's he supposed to say? Well, if you're hating on the PBC, what are you supposed to say, right? That doesn't prove the fact that he's from the company doesn't prove that it's wrong. So back to Errol Spence and what Derrick James said and whether or not Derrick James actually believes it. Just because he says it doesn't mean that he doesn't believe it. You may look at yourself, you can look at him a little side eye and be like, well, I know that's your team. So if you believed otherwise, I doubt very much you would say otherwise. But at the same time, just because he said it doesn't mean he doesn't mean it, right? And fights can change significantly. But whatever the case, and it definitely can change with Derrick James because Derrick James has had guys lose fights, albeit not this lopsided, and come back and win the rematch. He did that with Jermell Charlo, lost to Tony Harrison. Jermell Charlo got back in with Tony Harrison and knocked Tony Harrison out. He got a draw with Jermell Charlo and Brian Castano. Got back in, knocked out Brian Castano in the second fight. So it's not as if he doesn't have a habit, or it's not a habit. He doesn't have a history of being able to win, go to rematches and beat people in rematches. It's not unheard of that Derrick James has been able to accomplish that, or that other people have been able to accomplish winning rematches when they lost the first fight, or got knocked out in the first fight. And I would have to search through my memory and to tell you one that was that severe, honestly. But I'm sure if you go through it boxing long enough, you'll find out that it happened. In fact, that I know that it did happen because it was mentioned in a book called Only the Ring Was Square with some 1930s heavyweights where the guy knocked him out in the first fight and then came back. And then the next fight, people were betting on him and he wound up losing to the guy that he knocked out in the fight before. But anyway, I'm just telling you that this is a scenario where Derrick James can mean what he says, and it is possible. Now, my opinion is, of course, I'll lean towards Terence Crawford in the second fight. Because, hey, man, dude is an excellent fighter, and he definitely won that fight by outboxing Errol Spence Jr. It did look to me, though, that Errol Spence Jr. couldn't take any punches and really didn't have his feet underneath him during the fight. But it is what it is, man. Short of, being in this camp and knowing myself that something happened by seeing it myself in the camp. I wouldn't say that walking into the other fight that it's going to change, that it's going to change and Errol's going to be able to win the fight. He very well could perform a lot better, though. But, it is what it is. We'll see at the end of the day what takes place. But my hat goes off to Derrick James and Errol Spence. Terence Crawford and his camp deserve the win. They have had a terrific career. Even though I got to tell you, man, this whole thing about being better than Muhammad Ali and Sugar Ray Robinson, I think he may be feeling himself a little bit on that one. But at the end of the day, though, definitely respect what he did in that fight. Respect what Errol Spence Jr. has done in his career and his willingness to get back in the ring. Anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.